Coming up on the Making Waves VO podcast.
I know for a fact that audiobook is significantly less. We are on a much lower per finished hour rate than over the pond, and it's frustrating because obviously we're still putting in the same amount of effort.
Yeah,
but I
that's
think that the Americans must have such a much greater regard or respect for the level of work that goes into doing a long form book. I mean, I think the longest book I've done to date is 120,000, and it's hard work.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell.
Here we are. It is the Making Waves VO podcast. It's Kevin Kilpatrick here. And who else is with me? Bobby? Bobby, you there?
Bobby also in Nashville, and then we got to go all the way across the pond today.
Yeah, we are. We're going to introduce our guests coming up in just a second, but I must remind you that the Making Waves VO podcast is presented by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
And Bobby, we've got kind of a British invasion today, don't we?
Yeah, and I hope that's not a cliche statement, but it is.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Let's get an official, proper introduction going. She's a stage actor, a singer, an audiobook narrator, and a voice actor as well. Colette Redgrave, and our other guest owns a microphone. Kate Nealand is here too.
Hello, guys. Yes,
oh, no, Kate is an accomplished voice actor herself. Ladies, welcome to the Making Waves VO podcast.
That is the best introduction I think I've ever had. Thank you so much. I do indeed own a microphone.
Yes, I can vouch that she owns a microphone.
She's seen it. Yeah.
I
And
just
she
thought it was
knows how
funny
to
'cause
use it.
all these accolades I'm putting down for Colette, and I'm like, I'm just going to keep it simple for Kate.
I think you should. It's the best way. It's the
I
best
thought maybe you were
way.
going to say she has a voice. Just a voice.
I almost said, and Kate has a
They.
website.
Yeah.
I know, I do, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so
It's a
proud of what I've
great
achieved.
website.
Oh, you should be.
Great website.
Well, Bobby, I'm going to let you start with the questions for these ladies. Bobby, why don't you just recap how we met?
That's what I was just going to say. Let's explain that. And this podcast is way overdue because when we met these ladies, we said we have to have you on the podcast because we had such a good time.
Yeah.
We met them at a conference, a Euro conference in Switzerland. Is that where we were? Switzerland?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Two years?
were.
I know, that's why it
2
seems
years ago.
strange. But just immediately fell in love with you guys and especially your accents. And we had to have you on. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. We are absolutely delighted to be here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to be
absolutely.
extremely British just for this occasion, aren't we, Kate?
Yeah, extraordinarily so.
Those are perfect accents y'all are doing, too. I love that, how you're pulling that off. That's just staying in character like that. Colette, let's start with you. Why don't you tell us about your introduction into the world of voiceover, even if that was, organically through stage acting and singing and other performing. How did you get into the voiceover side of it?
Well, I think you're right in that I was training at the time as a musical theatre actress, and I pretty much sidetracked mainly into straight acting, shall we say. And my first ever job was for the Discovery Channel, which I think, from memory, this is quite a long time ago, fell through my acting agent at the time, and I had to go to a studio in London, and very much, home studio recording wasn't so much a thing back then. And then I fell into audiobooks probably pre-COVID, around about 2018, 17, 18, in a really odd way that another industry that I was working in at the time, a colleague of mine, her mum worked for an audiobook production house, and she knew that I'd been doing other voiceovers in other genres, and she very kindly sent my samples into this audio production house in the UK, and I ended up starting to do home recording for audiobooks as well as other genres like radio, commercials, corporates, telephony, various bits and pieces. But generally speaking, I think the first ever experience I had definitely came through my acting agent at the time. So yeah, kind of a sidetrack from the stage performance work.
And that's
Love
a
it.
big first one. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really nice job. It was a WAF officer, so it was the diaries of a Second World War women's Air Force officer and that was extremely plummy, very, very plummy about the Second World War and all her experiences with the gentlemen in the offices and all the boys. It was wonderful.
It sounds amazing, Colette.
Yeah, it was great.
Did you know that, Kate?
No, I didn't. I'm learning everything.
There you go.
Gosh. And how about you, Kate? How did you stumble upon voiceover? What's your past?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a stumble actually. I was working in TV and I was working in the music department at the time, and I was next to the promo department. And a friend of mine who worked in promos was launching a new TV channel, and the celebrity voiceover he had booked to do the first week's continuity didn't show up. And audio time being at a premium as it is, and he knew that kind of, I enjoyed acting, etc. He came to our department, his face white as a sheet, and said, "Will you do it for me?" I said, "I'll just have a word with the boss." And she was great. She was so cool. She said, "Yeah, go ahead and do it." So I went down and I read these scripts in the booth. It was all very exciting. And I then became the voice of the computer channel,
Wow.
this new channel that he was launching. And from there on, this was the late 1900s, by the way. And from there... From there on, I sort of worked my way up in TV and became a promo producer, a promo director, all the time doing voiceovers for my colleagues. And when I was working for Sky One, and they were, that was the channel that first had the new episodes of Friends, NER, and they were shown on a Thursday night on Sky One, and my colleague who was making those promos, the Thursday night strand, it had the new Simpsons, new Friends, new ER. She asked if I would be the voiceover for that strand, and so I'd go in and be doing my work, my promos. Then she'd get me in to do these voiceovers for Friends and ER. And the creative director in the end said, "Well, you're voicing the strand, you might as well make the promos as well." So it was this really weird moment where I was cutting the actual promos and voicing them as well. I had no idea back then, how kind of lucky I really was. And then I just eventually, I think it was about 2008, decided that I much preferred doing this than making the promos. So I stopped promos and set up as a full-time voiceover artist. There
That's
you go.
amazing.
That's a stumble.
Much more exciting than my story, quite frankly.
Well, no, they're both pretty cool.
They're both great stories. What I'm curious about is work and how you attain it. Kate, we're going to go to you. Here in the States, we've got, the casting sites, we've got agents, we've got managers, we've got direct marketing. What is the main way that you obtain your work across the pond?
Oh, Kev, you got to do that again.
I know, no, it's horrible.
It's amazing.
No, I'm gonna need to get coached up.
So the main way that I personally get my work is through direct marketing. It's email marketing. I do email market, and that's to production companies, to wherever really. I do a lot of continuity. So, when I first got my job in continuity, I've stayed doing continuity all these years for various channels. So I kind of have that as my regular work. And the rest of it is through self-marketing. I do the odd pay-to-play. But yeah, really, it's just kind of forming relationships, either reaching out directly through LinkedIn, or mostly it's through email for me. That's how I personally get all.
So when you say you're marketing, are you more concentrating on England or Europe, or are you marketing to production houses and agents and stuff in the United States?
That's a really good question, Bobby. It's mostly to the UK, actually. Yeah, it's mostly to the UK. Yeah, I haven't sort of branched out yet to many places in Europe or even the States. That's not true. I've got an American agent, haven't I? Yes. Okay. So no, I do auditions as well for the States, just not that often. Yeah.
That's awesome. Colette, do you have an American agent?
I don't have an American agent. I do have an agent based in Europe, though I have to be honest and say I don't get a huge amount of work through them. And I think Kate's right. It's all about relationship building, direct relationships and forging those relationships. And I'm quite lucky that I've ended up with some great clients who come back to me quite quite often for various different projects. And even the little jobs, and I've always said this, both within the voiceover career that I've had and also through running my own businesses that have been non-voiceover related, having one or two large contractors or large clients is lovely, but actually it's the small regular gigs that keep you alive when times are tough. And I'm very lucky that I do have people that come back to me time and time again, and they may only be really small jobs, but actually that trickle feed of work and that trickle feed of income can be an absolute lifesaver. And I think that should be above all else in any business, whether it's
Amen.
voiceover or anything else. So yeah, I have done the pay to plays a little bit. I haven't done it so much lately. I've then forged relationships through pay to play contracts that I've received, and I've ended up doing repeat work for them. Weirdly have ended up with a couple of people contacting me on LinkedIn from across the pond, but South America, so Colombia. I've done work for a client there quite regularly. But yeah, I think it's about doing the legwork yourself as much as having an agent and as much as using the P2Ps. You really have to really work on, it's all business is based on good relationship, isn't it?
Don't go anywhere. The Making Waves VO podcast returns in a moment.
This is voice actor and voice acting coach Linda Bruno, and you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. I heard it's really good.
Oh, Bobby, this is exciting news. Our good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com, have an amazing special going on right now, and that is for our very special friends that are voice actors that want to buy a voiceover bundle.
Yeah, our friend at Full Compass had mentioned at Voiceover Atlanta they were going to look into getting bundles, and wow, when they looked into getting bundles, they went straight to the top. Neumann, we all know the name, we love the name. It's just best of the best in voiceover. So they're bundling a bunch of Neumann products and gonna save you a lot of moolah. The Neumann TLM 103 voiceover bundle includes that amazing 103 microphone, the Neumann headphones, and a really cool interface. I've never tried this, but I've heard great things about the Neumann interface.
This new era of interfaces, Bobby, is amazing because you can program these interfaces to do different things, and you can program them to, lock in audio settings and different things like that. And we know the legendary Neumann name for all these years. And the TLM 103 that you talk about, there are so many of our voice actor friends that use that microphone because it is a brilliant combination of warmth and presence, and it is an amazing microphone for a voice actor. And when you put all these together, the NDH20 headphones along with the TLM 103, and then that sweet interface, you get a savings of 23%. 23%. So the bundle that Bobby was talking about was originally $4,477. You can get it right now for a limited time for $3,449.99.
And they also have bundles with the TLM 193 and the big guy, the big daddy, the U87 AI bundle.
Yeah, and those, the prices on those are a little bit different, but there's something for every price level, whatever you want to do. Check out the voiceover bundles that they have on sale right now at Full Compass. If you want expert assistance, you can give them a call at 1-800-356-5844, or Bobby, you could go on their website, right?
Fullcompass.com.
fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Making Waves returns.
We were messaging maybe a year ago, Colette, about an agent needing a British voice, and you were talking about not having Source Connect. I'm very curious to hear more about your studio, because you told us when we were in Switzerland that you live in a windmill, but when I went on your website, I didn't realize you were self-sustained. And how does that work if you have to record?
So I'll be honest with you, I have not solved the Source Connect issue in terms of preferential for Source Connect, which you guys will probably be familiar with the fact that I think the industry, or any industry, the acting industry is the same. People get set in their ways. They like something, they like a product, they like a process, and quite often that's their go-to. I ended up reaching out to the community that we met in Switzerland through you guys and through JMC, and I ended up with some amazing technical help from people like Mike McGonigal and another gentleman, Randy, from Connection Open. And because I'm totally off grid, I have Starlink. So I have super fast internet. In fact, I probably have some of the fastest internet in the whole of Portugal.
Wow.
But I can't use Source Connect because of the difference in the Signac technology that Source Connect use, whereas Connection Open, I can have a live direct session. So I'll be honest with you, I don't do a huge amount of live directs, especially when I'm doing audiobook work. I self-record everything, then it goes to a sound editor and a proof listener. But when I do need something, then I can use Connection Open, and I have all the information on that because a few people have reached out to me over the last few years and asked me how do I overcome that as a problem, because it is a problem. And actually the only thing I can't do is change an industry overnight, but I can certainly introduce this technology, which is incredible, to those that are willing and open to use it, because it's so simple to use and it does exactly what Source Connect does. So yeah, I there's a workaround for all these things. I travel a lot. I enjoyed listening to your last episode of Kevin and your wrapping up of your microphone and packing it in. And I just thought I'm going to need to take a leaf out of your book, because I have to be honest and say I'm not quite so protective of my microphone. Maybe I should be. I always get stopped at security as well, because I always think they must think I've got a gun in my laptop
Is
bag.
it a 416?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so yeah,
same.
the kind of the clues in the name, isn't it? So I always have issues with that. But I've just recently bought a Rode NTG, and that's working brilliantly. The little microphones that are used for sort of on top of cameras for video recording. Amazing. And that came from Jordan Reynolds recommended it, and Mara, and it is the most fantastic little thing, because I can just use a USB connector to connect up to my laptop. I don't have to take my interface, so it's awesome. But that did make me laugh, and then the last episode really made me chuckle.
Oh, that's great. I love that you heard that. That's because it freaks me out, and I get so paranoid about packing all my gear and just like, I'm gonna break something, and I nearly did.
And then you did.
I think
my own fault.
we all go through that, don't we?
What are y'all working on? Colette, I know you do audiobooks and other things, but what are some of the other things that you're working on besides audiobooks?
I do a lot of corporate recording, corporate training, and corporate sort of visual broadcast. So I've just done a really nice project for Mercedes-Benz Bugatti in Dubai, and the second part of that's coming out hopefully soon. And then I also do green screen presenting, so I've done training programs for some big organisations in the United Kingdom, like Southeastern Trains, who are a big public train service. I've done all of their employee training, and I not only do on-screen green screen presenting for that, but I also then do voiceover for it. Kate's very kindly got me into bits of telephony, which is again what I call the trickle feed stuff, which is nice, and it keeps the pennies coming in. And radio as well. I mean, radio in the UK is a bit of a pain in the, shall we say, because indeed arse, exactly. Let's just get straight to the point there. The radio industry in the UK is very different, I think, to the States, because we have a capped sort of market due to a big company who have basically taken over the entire radio existence in the United Kingdom.
Is that BBC One?
No, it's not BBC. It's the Bauer Group,
Okay.
and they have
commercial
basically, the commercial side has been capped with sort of set rates. So the rates aren't great, but again, if you're getting 2 or 3 or 4 of them a week, then again, it's a part of that lovely sort of group of work that keeps you going when times is tough. So so that's kind of where I'm at really. So corporate broadcast, a little bit of radio, and I've probably always got an audiobook of some description on the boil in the background.
What about you, Kate? What are you working on regularly?
So my regular work comes from, again, like Colette said, a lot of regular clients. I do quite a few radio commercials, and that's always really fun because you never know from one day to the next if you're going to get a call and say, oh, can you hop on right now? They're always really cute jobs. I enjoy those a lot. Continuity, I don't know what you call it over there. So announcing sort of on TV. I work for a channel called Sky Mix now, so I write the scripts for that and record it, and then it goes on air. And corporate stuff, loads and loads of corporate stuff. That's sort of my bread and butter. And then every now and then sort of like have the lovely TV commercials or a spot of animation here. And recently I have just voiced my very first video game.
Oh,
so that was
congrats.
So thank you so much. It was, how long has that taken? Probably about 5 years since I decided I wanted to do it and became interested. And it's just been constant training in the background. And when I did manage to convert this audition, I was so grateful for all the training and coaching that I had done, because it really stood me in good stead in the actual session, because I felt prepared. It didn't feel like just the first time, so that was really cool. But just I tend to do short form, and that's a case of that keeping the hustle going, keeping in contact with all my regulars, and forging new relationships as well.
That's great. You mentioned, well, I was just going to ask a follow-up on the continuity thing. You said you don't know what we call that here in the States. Are you talking about you do the scheduling of the commercials and promos and stuff for some TV stations?
You're voicing them.
I'm voicing them. So, for example, it's I would say next on Sky Mix is Caught on Dashcam, I'll be given a plan, I'll be given a grid, and I'll be told what program I'm throwing to and what program I'm coming out of, and the transmission information. So, is it the new episode at 8:00 on Thursday, and then what happens, and then I have to write a script that is 12 seconds long that sort of gives all the transmission information, and then also the brand personality. So we've got to kind of tick all these boxes for each link that we do, and then send them off, and then they're kind of listened to by compliance to make sure you haven't said anything. Yeah.
It's kind of like a mix between promo and affiliate here, I would think. Just the way you're describing it. Yeah.
I think it falls a little bit under promo. Oh yeah, and promos as well sometimes.
I'm so glad that you got into video games, because I was in your class in Switzerland with Daniel Ross, and you killed it.
Oh, thanks, mate. That's really sweet of you to say. It was a great class. Daniel was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was so generous. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. I, on the other hand, am Eric Romanowski of Ear Blowing Audio, and I don't know the first thing about podcasts other than that you should keep listening to this one.
So, Colette, I'm curious. We brought this up a little bit when we were at the conference together with your famous last name. Do you get people, the hires, asking you if you're related to the acting Redgraves very often?
It's always a question that has to be answered. I don't think it has any bearance on whether or not I get the job. I tell you, when it becomes useful is, I suppose, more so with the acting. When you're doing a press release or when there's any sort of media interest, it's a hook. So from that perspective and from promotional perspective, I think it is appealing. For want of a better word.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And do you know what? I think we had a conversation, didn't we, about the possibility of the States having more of a fascination with it maybe than the United Kingdom.
Probably.
And Europe. I don't think the Europeans would even know what it meant, if I'm really honest. But I do think that it certainly has some traction when it comes to publicity and PR. But from a getting the job or getting in the room perspective, I don't think it makes any difference. So... But yeah, it's definitely, I don't knock it, and I'm very grateful to have that name from my father's side of the family, and I go back a couple of generations to Michael Redgrave and Lynn and Vanessa, sort of twice removed. So yeah, it's not a close relationship, but I'm certainly very honoured to have the name.
Very cool. Colette, you touched on something a minute ago, and you were talking about the rates are kind of capped in terms of radio in the UK. What about rates overall? Do you think that the rates are lower there in the UK compared to the United States?
I think Kate would be able to help me on this one a little bit as well, with in terms of commercial more so, but I know for a fact that audiobook is significantly less. We are on a much lower per finished hour rate than over the pond, and it's frustrating because obviously we're still putting in the same amount of effort.
Yeah,
but I
that's
think that the Americans must have such a much greater regard or respect for the level of work that goes into doing a long form book. I mean, I think the longest book I've done to date is 120,000, and it's hard work. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and there is a huge amount involved in that process, in the preparation, in the recording, in the editing, and I think it's a shame because it is a very popular marketplace right now in the UK and in Europe. You know, there's a lot of people listening to audiobooks now, and it's a shame that we are probably a third less on average than what you guys are getting over there. Yeah. I mean, it's really surprising, and I've had these conversations with sound editors that I work with on audiobooks who also do work over in the States, and they much prefer to focus their attention because on the editing side as well, they're getting substantially more. Yeah.
Wow.
I've got to say, I think in my limited experience of the US market, it does seem to me that the fees are much higher in the States than they are over here. And I had a client who left, who went to work for a new company, and she reached out and she said, "We want to put you on our roster. What's your general fee? What's your general price range for this?" And I'll always push back when there's a roster and someone asks me that. I say, "Well, what's the kind of format that you have? What do most voiceovers that you work with charge?" And she told me the fee for one of her regular VOs who's American and works out of the States. And I was really shocked. It was probably about twice what I was about to quote, and I was about to quote what I thought was kind of like medium to high price. And I said, I'll fall in line with that. That's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem at all. But I was really, really surprised. But it was also really encouraging to know that they would pay that. So, I think
one of you
speaking,
mentioned that you've worked in Dubai, and I do a kids network over there, and it's really low.
Yeah,
Was it Colette? You said you work with
Colette.
that?
That came through, weirdly enough, that came through a contact from Portugal, and I have just been nominated for a Vox Award for it, which is very nice.
Awesome.
Exciting. Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible piece of video. They're an architectural 3D design company, so they do these incredible futuristic kind of mock-ups of things, and this is for a very futuristic building that's being proposed in Dubai, and yet the rate isn't great. So to get a nomination actually is probably more exciting than actually what the rate was, if I'm really honest.
It's a lovely piece.
They just feel it does feel like we are generally lower than what you guys get over there. But again, it's this, I don't know whether it's the same with acting per se. I mean, it's cutthroat anywhere. It's cutthroat there, it's cutthroat here. You've got to pave your own way. You've got to build those relationships. You've got to sell whatever your unique selling point is, your USP. And I suppose it's what you're aiming for. And ultimately, I think probably both Kate and I can take away from this that we maybe should just, pull our socks up and brave the transatlantic crossing theoretically in the online world, and actually start looking across the pond more, because I know that we spoke about it a lot, didn't we, Bobby, in Switzerland?
Yeah, you really should. There is a lot of work here for Brit voices.
I think we're just a little
That's
bit
amazing.
We're a bit too polite, aren't we, Kate?
A little bit,
You
yes,
shouldn't
a
be.
little bit.
You shouldn't
It's like,
be.
I'm so sorry. Can I just get in touch? Do you mind?
Yeah.
No, we shouldn't be, should we?
Don't want to
Because
trouble
the meek don't
people.
get paid.
No, right. The meat don't get paid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's funny because let's unpack that just a little bit more. When we're talking about the rates in Europe, or the United Kingdom or England, Let's talk about populations, because let's say, Kate, you've got something running nationally. Let's say it's a national spot. Here's my first question so I can follow up with what I was going to get to. If you're doing a national spot, does that mean national England, or does that mean all of the United Kingdom typically?
Typically, I believe it means all of the United Kingdom.
Okay. So we got 66.9 million people in the United Kingdom. Conversely, in the U.S., there's 333 million. So, approximately 5 times as much. And let's say it was a national TV spot, non-union, here in the United States. You might get like a couple of grand for it if it's like just a regular 13-week run. What might something like that get you in the United Kingdom?
Oh, crikey. Now you're asking.
Oh, well, no worries. I'm just wanted to see if it was commensurate, though, with the population.
So, TV commercials are based on TVRs. Do you have them over there? TVRs. So we kind of like trying to figure out how many people this is going to actually reach. And when it becomes national, that's when we hand it over to the agent and they start doing all the negotiations. Because I've had radio spots that have gone national that have been so varied in fee. There doesn't seem to be a set. It depends what you can negotiate, how big the client is, how well known they are. It's a tricky question.
During COVID, I think I got asked to read for a very large, well-known coffee manufacturer, and the rate was £400.
That's shocking.
400 UK
National?
pounds. National, United Kingdom.
Wow.
And I don't know whether that was just because it was you're at home during COVID, so therefore we'll just pay you for your time for not getting paid to do anything else, or but I do think that it's so varied. And I know that we have a union over here, Equity, and Equity have worked extremely hard over the course of the last few years to try and improve the format or the rates of pay for voiceover artists, and especially in the gaming industry. I believe they've done a lot of campaigning, and it has improved, but it is still.
The thing is, it's a suggestion, and it's an agreement.
Requirement.
So if you can get someone on board with an equity contract, then yes, they're paying equity prices, but it's not. Yeah. It's not obligatory. Yeah.
No.
Do you have the option to be with equity or do equity work and not do equity work? Can you do both?
Yes, we do both. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah.
Since
it's with SAG-AFTRA, it's different, isn't it? You can only do SAG-AFTRA work.
Or you can do FICORs.
A FICOR, that's it. Yeah.
FICOR,
you can do both of them.
But yeah, they do some great work. They do some great work to try and support, the industry. And I think that it's obviously, we don't want to go down the rabbit hole of AI, but the beauty of the job that I did for the Mercedes job was I won it off of AI. It was originally going to go down that road, and it came back to human voice. And the rate wasn't amazing, but it was a beautiful piece of work. And I think sometimes also with the audiobooks, I'm willing to take that lower rate because it's a piece of work that I genuinely align with. However, I think there has to be a line drawn, because I have this conversation with actors. I've taught children and adults acting for a number of years, and it's all about valuing yourself as well as valuing the industry. And if you are willing to take work for very low rates of pay, then I suppose you bring the whole industry down. And I know that even in acting and voiceover, I can put my hands up and say I've done that. And there are times when sometimes we do that, but I think ultimately it is knowing your worth and making sure that you trust your worth and your value, whatever you're bringing to the table. If you put the investment in, the time, the training, we all met on what was an elite training, which was extremely beneficial for all of us, working with some of the best coaches around. We've got the equipment, we've got the setup, you're putting that time and investment in. So sometimes you have to remind the client that it's not just someone recording with a USB mic in the back of their car. You're investing in someone who's a professional. But that, again, I've had that in other industries as well. You sometimes have to remind people that you're paying for the tools, the insurance, the training, the certification, whatever it is you have in your armory to bring to the table and do the job the best you can.
In the Making Waves VO podcast, we'll be right back.
Well, hello there. I'm AJ McKay, voice actor, demo producer, and audio engineer. And you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my good friends, love these guys to death, Kevin Kilcarney and Bobby Maxwell. What's that? Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. Whatever.
Full Compass is your one-stop destination for cutting-edge audio, video, and lighting solutions. With nearly 50 years of industry expertise, we offer a vast selection of high-quality equipment, from microphones, recording interfaces, and software, to audio accessories, monitors, headphones, and other pieces to help you find your ideal sound. Our trained product experts are here to help every step of the way with unmatched customer service. You'll also get free same-day shipping, flexible financing options, and a low-price guarantee. Visit us online at fullcompass.com or call 800-356-5844 today.
Now back to the podcast. So, Kate, I know you've been to a couple of conferences in America.
Yes, I have.
What was your take after your first one compared to the coaching and the presenters in England, and especially demo production? Because everybody here thinks that they have to have 10 demos, But is it that competitive there?
It's certainly getting that way. Yeah, it's certainly getting that way. The American conferences. I went to VO Atlanta 23, and it was brilliant. It was like you were saying, I think in one of your previous episodes, Bobby. It just kind of puts fire in your belly, and that's the reason that I do it, because it just ignites that spark that I have for the profession, for this industry, as well as learning so much stuff, because the industry is moving apace now, I think, more than ever. And there's so much stuff to kind of keep up with, to stay relevant. And I also find with the American conferences, with the VO Atlanta, that there is like an understanding amongst everybody who is there. Casting directors, coaches, voice actors, that we're all there for the same reason. We are there to learn, but we're also there to network. And I found that really lovely, that you could just go and speak to anyone. Everyone was really, really welcoming. There was such a vibe and a high energy that you can't help but be swept along with it. In terms of demos, well, there's lots of demos that you have over there that we don't really have over here, like political and automotive. That Colette and I have discussed this, that we just don't really have the need for. But I have taken a lot of inspiration from the way some demos are put together over there. I did my corporate and TV narration demo with JMC after the Euro retreat, and I've booked off that corporate demo.
Love it.
There's a very involved sort of process when you do your demo with JMC. Well, I think everywhere, but it was one of the things I had to say, who would I really like to work for? And one of the organisations I put down for my corporate was the NHS, the National Health Service. I said, that organisation has my heart. I was, they need to give it back. I said, if I could be the voice of any organisation in this country, it would be the NHS. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so they wrote me this beautiful copy for the NHS. And I have actually booked with the NHS being the end client from my demo a couple of times. That's since awesome. Then. I hadn't booked since. So that really sort of transformed my idea of what was possible. But it's evolving. It's constantly evolving. When I started, I had a commercial reel, one commercial reel, and that was it. And I thought that would cover everything. And I suppose back then it sort of did. But if everybody is doing more targeted demos, then you kind of have to keep up with that. And I've been in workshops and conferences recently where the session leaders, the directors and casting directors are saying, if we're looking for a certain sound or a certain character, help us find it. Tell us where on your reel it is, or just put them separately on your website and direct us straight to them. That's what they're looking for now. They're looking for that exact voice
Samples.
samples to fit their vision. So yes, it is sort of becoming. What was I saying? Yes, it's becoming sort of like more exactly like you say. Yeah, more like the States competitive. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Kevin, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just taking it all in. I was sitting here going over my script and wondering how I'm going to do this goofy accent.
Well, let's have some fun with this.
Except for them, it's not a goofy accent. It's just an accent. So
no, what they think American accents. We talked about this in Switzerland, and that's why I wanted to do this little game where we have the same script, but Kate and Colette will tell us what they think an American sounds like doing it, and we're going to do the opposite. So who wants to go first?
Who do you want to go first, Bobby? I say our guests go first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Who wants to go, Kate or Colette?
Shall I?
Don't mind. Go on, Kate.
Colette?
Yes, you
You
shall.
shall.
Take the
Is she
floor.
there? She's there.
Go
Okay. Okay.
Go on,
Okay.
Kate.
All right. When only the best will do. Trust us to deliver gourmet excellence. From decadent desserts to Savoy selections. I think that says savory selections. Every box is curated with premium hand-selected items. Because I think
Wow.
I think you're all so sexy. There you go.
I
was very
I think
sexy.
she's got a little Southern accent in there, Kev.
I know. There was some
can't help
sound
it.
coming out. That was funny.
Love
right.
it.
Next.
Mm-hmm.
Colette?
Colette,
Yes.
that's you.
Right, here we go. When only the best will do. Trust us to deliver gourmet excellence. From decadent desserts to savory selections, every box is curated with premium hand-selected items.
Oh my gosh.
This reminds me of a conversation I had with you, Bobby, about, shall we say, high-end goods selling of
That's
one's
it.
voice.
That's what I got. I was like,
I
this is
also
some
got-
snooty old white lady.
Yeah.
I
And
do
I'm
snooty
also
old white
hearing-
lady on both sides of the pond very well.
I'm hearing overpronunciation. Do you think that we overpronunciate?
You could be honest.
Sometimes in some of the commercial stuff, yes.
Yes.
I do. Yeah, I do think so. I think I think that is different to, like, I don't know whether you'd agree, Kate, but it feels like at the moment VO feels quite relaxed, conversational, and almost like just in the back of the car having a chat in advertising at the moment in this side of the world. It often feels a little bit more kind of not performed. That's not the right word, but yeah, maybe more pronounced. Maybe.
Yeah, that would probably be a better way to say it. More pronounced.
Yeah.
Interesting. Kev,
That's
I
funny.
want to hear your Kev. I want to hear your
Let's
British
go.
accent.
All right.
Here we go.
I'm just going to do this. Y'all get ready because it's going to be nasty.
Y'all. Okay.
Holding onto my hat. Kev, holding onto my hat. Go
When
on.
only the best will do, trust us to deliver gourmet excellence. From decadent desserts to savory selections, every box is curated with premium hand-selected items.
That was Australian, Cockney. I think there was some German in there, maybe some
Kiwi
Dutch.
in there.
I have never felt so secure in my job. That was amazing.
I don't
That
even
was
know. Okay, let me
amazing.
try a proper British.
Okay,
When
try
only
proper
the
British.
best will do, trust us to deliver gourmet excellence. From decadent desserts to savory selections, every box is curated with premium hand-selected items.
Ooh, do you know
That's
what? That
better.
wasn't
Yes.
bad.
Just sound like
That
a
wasn't
butler.
bad.
Definitely butler.
I need to work on it, that's for sure.
Did you say butler, Colette?
Very butlerish. Definitely butlerish.
Trust us to deliver gourmet excellence, sir.
Well, I have to preface mine with I watched Downton Abbey so much, and Mary, I would mock Mary all the time. So it's going to sound like Mary.
I'm so excited right now.
Oh God.
Here we go.
When only the best will do, trust us to deliver gourmet excellence. From decadent desserts to savory selections, every box is curated with premium hand-selected items.
Oh, you started off really strong. You started off
melted.
really strong.
And I lost it. It fell apart.
She said curated properly, though, right?
Curated was very good.
Yes, that was very good.
There was definitely a touch of the Downtons.
I would buy a gourmet excellence box of savoury selections from you any day of the week, Bobby Maxwell.
Definitely.
She just happens to have some for sale.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ship to the United Kingdom?
Here's my card.
What fun. You guys are awesome. I missed you.
That was amazing.
That is, I'm going to
miss you
throw
guys
this out.
too.
Hey, it's Amanda from Amanda Utter VO, and you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my friends, Kevin and Bobby. Thanks for listening.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there really quick. We do and we haven't asked y'all to prepare anything, but just in case. Colette, we do a recurring segment called Nightmare Sessions where we talk about recording sessions that have gone terrible. Colette, do you by chance have a nightmare session story you could share?
Nightmare Sessions.
I don't have shall we say, a techie nightmare session, but I did have an interesting session recently where I was discussing this with Kate, actually. We were online with a group of, shall we say, creatives. So the client was there and various other people were in this Zoom whilst we were recording. And I was in a studio with a sound editor as well that I work with quite regularly. And it was a case of too many cooks spoil the broth. And it got to a point where there were so many people, I probably read about 2 sentences, and we spent about 20 minutes going through everybody's sort of reason why one way should be said this way and another way should be said that way. And eventually I was very lucky that the client realised what was going on and that we were going to be there till Christmas if it continued like that for a very short piece of text. And what was so funny is because I've worked with my sound editor over a number of years. He's an incredible ex-BBC sound guy, and we both have this fascination with a comedy series here in the UK called Toast of London, and a character called Clem Fandango. And so every time our mics were off. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. Well done. That's the one.
You know it.
It was a Clem Fandango session, basically. It just got to a point where I'm so pleased that it was somebody that the client I've worked with before, and they just went, you know what, could a couple of you leave and then we might get this done. So I was very, very fortunate that I had the client on my side, because otherwise I think I might have literally pulled my hair out and we would have been Clem Fandangoing all the way to the end of the year. So yeah, that was probably my worst nightmare session.
Oh, that's great. We've experienced those. Kate, do you have anything that you could share with us in a similar vein?
Oh yeah, I've got a couple. Okay, so there was the very first time I had to use Source Connect, and it was during lockdown, and I'd got a job through from the States, and I was panicking a bit because I didn't have Source Connect, so I downloaded it and I subscribed. Turns out I subscribed twice because I did not know what I was doing.
And making sure you're covered.
Yeah, making sure I was completely covered.
Twice is better than none.
I was like, what do I do with this? What do I do? And you know how they set up with you, they kind of they can take control of your computer, and I was the day before my session I was on with Javier. And he was doing all the back-end stuff, all the portals and all the magic, all the setups. And he said to me at the end, look, sometimes if something goes wrong with Source Connect, they might try and blame the voiceover, but I promise you it's not you. Everything is working. I was like, okay, I trust you, Javier. So the session, the following day, get on, ready to do the small talk with the engineer and just say hi, get to know each other. And he was like, Kate, something's wrong your end. Oh my gosh, my heart started pounding. So I leapt out. I'm looking at my computer screen and all I can see is a little Source Connect box. I'm like, yeah, I'm just trying. I wasn't doing anything. I was literally staring and panicking. And then after what felt like a year, probably a couple of minutes, he said, oh no, it's me. And then press the button. And then we carried on. Oh! The client gets online.
So it was you. It wasn't the Source Connect.
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me at all.
It was the producer.
It was, yeah. It wasn't. So it was like, oh, thank goodness.
I love that, how you said, oh, I'm going to try a couple of things here, and then you're just staring at it.
But then it carried on. So I get onto the session. The client pops on. He's like, hi, Katie. I'm like, oh, no, that's not my name. But I don't correct him. It's like, how are you, Katie? I was like, I'm fine. I'm so well. I'm really good. Thank you so much. I wasn't. I had COVID. I felt really rotten, and it was my birthday. After a while, after maybe about 5 minutes, the engineer, bless, stepped in and said, "Look, it's not Katie. It's Kate." And the client, apologised. Obviously mortified. It doesn't matter. It really didn't matter. Client apologised. Said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Claire." And I was Claire for the rest of the session, and let me tell you, she blew it out of the water. It was a really good session in the end. The scripts were just brilliant. It was really funny, but I had to have a little bit of a lie down after that.
Oh my gosh, Claire, Katie,
Claire.
whatever your name is,
Claire. She had a great session.
And Colette, you talking about your session? I've had the exact same thing happen, and I had a director and a writer clash within the session, and it got very awkward and uncomfortable because they both had different ideas of how they want me to go. And I was team writer the whole time, but I didn't tell them that. but the director ended up winning, the direction they wanted me to go.
Yeah.
So it's just, when you get like 6, 7, 8 people, that's just too much. What do you need all these people for?
Yeah, it
have
is.
somebody
That's
be in
way too
control and then call it done.
And everybody feels like they have to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You don't know who you should be listening to.
Everyone's got a different ear. Everybody hears something different. I mean, we're all unique, both vocally and when we listen to, what you listen on a TV advert will be completely different to what I pick up on that TV advert potentially. So, yeah, it was a Clem Fandango.
For those that don't know, Toast of London, my goodness, the Clem Fandango original clip that was yes, all over. Bobby, it's the clip.
Oh, I did see that one.
I shared that with you.
Yes,
I shared that.
yes.
And
that
so
was
very
hilarious.
So
Very
Stephen
funny.
Toast in this voiceover session has one word to say, and it is yes. The word is yes. And he's doing it in all these different ways. And Clem Fandango, the director, the smug director behind the glass, is like, I just don't know if I'm really feeling it, Stephen. I just, can we give it a little more? Can we really go for it? And just, it's all of us. It's all our sessions,
Yeah, it is. You're so relatable.
And
God.
Matt Berry,
Matthew Berry, I think.
Matthew Berry, the lead actor from Toast of London. He's just brilliant. He's just so good.
Kevin, we forgot to mention about the date fiasco on what today's date is.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes.
So
we're just different. I mean, we're
just so
alike in a lot of
different.
ways,
Yeah,
but we're so.
yeah.
And I think I started it and said, how about September 24th or whatever?
Yeah.
September 24th of 24. And they came back. And what did you say it is?
Kate,
ladies?
yeah, it was
The-
Kate
the
that
twen-
chimed in.
It's the 24th of the 9th. 2004. My head twitches when I get a date through that's kind of the 12th of the month, or it's the 24th, and you say the 12th of the 24th, and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
That is so
I get
funny.
there in the end.
For our American listeners, you may or may not know that across the pond, they do the dates with the day of the week first, and then the month, and then the year. Whereas we go the month, the day, then the year. And if I'm speaking candidly, I think y'all's way is better. It just makes more sense that way. It does.
Unless you make September, October, right?
Yeah. And so, as a joke, when I was sending out the Zoom invites to our lovely guests here, I accidentally put, I was trying to be funny and put their date system, how they date it, and then I put October. And I'm like, because I'm a clown and a chucklehead.
Hey, we've got time.
We'll meet again on the 24th of October.
Yes. I'm just
Where-
thankful that y'all made it.
It is a miracle that we're here, and I'm so glad we did.
Yes.
It's been so much fun catching up, ladies. And Bobby and I wish you much success and continued success moving forward in your voiceover careers. You've got a great stranglehold on the business, and we just want to see how you do.
Oh, it's been
Thank
absolutely
you.
lovely. Thanks so much. I do miss you guys.
It's definitely been a kick up the arse to get ourselves over to the pond in terms of marketing. I think you and I, Kate, we're going to have to get our heads together and get ourselves marketing
aren't we?
a little bit more
Aren't we?
further afield.
Further afield, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you throw in a little y'all for us?
Hey, y'all.
Thanks so much, y'all.
Oh, that was a lot of fun, Bobby.
Definitely. I knew it would be. They're a fun group of girls.
Yeah, Kate
And,
and Colette Redgrave and Kate Neeland from across the pond, two lovely British voice actors doing their thing. Colette from Portugal and Kate she's London, right?
Yes, she is. She is
Okay.
London. Mm-hmm.
What'd you learn today, Bobby?
I learned that Brits think we all sound Southern.
That's kind of a thing, and we probably
Or
all
maybe
think that-
Texan. I can't tell what it is.
Yeah, that was fun hearing them do the accents, and you of course nailed your accent, and mine was just clown work, is all it was.
Nah.
So
It's butler.
yeah, the butler. But maybe I should practice it up a little bit, in case I want to try to audition for some British character work or something. Yeah. Good stuff, though. Very enjoyable to catch up with them. And it was interesting to learn about, the voiceover market over there and what they're doing and what they're working on.
Yeah, and I really do think they should market in the U.S. more. I think they can get work because there's plenty of it.
Yeah. And that's the biggest hurdle is the marketing side of it. That's what holds us back so often. Don't be afraid. Do it. And yeah, I think them being authentic and doing their thing, and they're both so talented, they could get some work here for sure, I think.
Absolutely.
Well, good, Bobby. Well, this has been a fun episode, and I'm going to let you go. And what do you say? We'll do this again in about a week or so?
Yeah, I think we need some us time. I think it'll be just us that next time. We'll catch up on what's going on in our lives.
I love that. I think that's a fantastic plan. I love that. The Making Waves VO podcast presented by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Bye, Bobby.
Bye.
The Making Waves VO podcast is produced by K2 Media Productions with hosts Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. Sound design and editing by Jason Traver. Production assistance by Lacey Deline. Publicity and social media by Shannon Scott and Silas Phillips. Be sure to subscribe to the Making Waves VO podcast on your favorite platform. For all episodes, merchandise, gear, and more, visit makingwavesvo.com. Until next time, I'm AJ McKay. Keep making waves.